Hello everyone. This video I'm going to go over the two different types of zipline towers that I have built in my game. I originally started with stairs and decided I didn't want to do that. I was, for streaming purposes, having to constantly spin the camera was not good for my audience to be looking at that, as well as after a while it gave me a headache. So I used zipline, bounce webs, weed stem windows, and then of course grass plank floors. Doing it over here by the eastern side of the flooded plain, there's not many weed stems here. You have to run them in from, you see the dandelions there, and it may not focus, but the baby doll head, there's weeds right there as well. So I ran them in from over there. And either way, ant armor comes in very helpful with that. But I'm going to pause for just a second. I'm going to switch over to creative mode so I can then show you exactly how I built it and if you would like to duplicate it. So give me 1 second while I switch over to creative mode. Alright everyone, we're back here in creative mode. You can see there is no tower, there's no zip lines, nothing going on. So I'm going to start with, I use the pebblet foundation. Give myself a nice 3x3 setup. So 1, 2, 3, 1. Actually, this is 1, 2, and then 3. And then, of course, just fill in your square. Now, this is creative mode, so this stuff builds instantly. This you can have in your inventory. It's pretty easy to do. Now, this is for the tower. Next to the tower, I will also have the, because I have the tower, we're just going to say like this. So I gave my tower a little bit of height on the base. Height on the tower is always good. Put a little ramp right here in the middle, so I don't have to jump when I run in. And then next to it is where I placed the receiving end of the zip lines coming from all over the yard. And that is the receiving line right there, the lower receiving edge. So for the tower itself, I went to the front edge. I use the windowed stem wall. They only take 2 stems. And I placed the first wall. Now, of course, in the real game, you place a blueprint, then you have to build it. In creative, you don't. Then angle the next one. And then same thing, flat angle. Leaving this open above the ramp as your doorway. And then you're going to give that another angle. We're basically making an octagon. Now, the bounce web is positioned right here. I did lights by the windows to the left and right of the entrance, and it went that way all the way up. I only put lights like that on the floors where you land. So from the ground floor, you can do... Excuse me. You can do the first 2 rows of walls. Get up there. Well, it won't because it wouldn't be. It's not. It would not connect because it wasn't supported to anything. So that's fine. Now, obviously, like I said, this takes a lot longer in the real game. Now, getting this one done, you can place a blueprint from down here, and then you can jump and build it. You don't actually have to, build stairs or whatever. You can reach that from down here and build it. So go ahead and build 3 full sections all the way up. And that is the first area that you want to do. Now, you want 3 full sections. A bounce web will carry you up 3 and a little bit more. So you want to have a floor up here to catch you. Obviously, you can see the blueprints can reach that far. From the ground, you're going to lay your blueprints from here. I'm not going to do it in creative because it auto builds. So get your bounce web built so you can have all that kind of stuff in your inventory. You can spin these however you want. I would recommend trying to get it as close to that side as possible. So you have your ramp entrance, light on either side, bounce web in the back, and then with your blueprints spanning across, you're going to bounce web up and spam the build key. I just spammed the E key until that one completed. You have to complete one on the side first. Once it's completed, you can then land up here with your grass planks on your shoulder. Ant armor will make this much faster, and build the rest of the floor. I don't know where that last piece just went, so let's go delete that real quick. So we're going to get rid of this because that's not correct. So we hop up. I always like to make sure that all my floors are facing the same direction. You can face them however you want. It's up to you. I went across like this, leaving the side over here directly above the bounce web open. And then you just take 2 triangle pieces of floor and finish this off. Now, that is your first section. And now it's just a repeat. So we go back to the windowed stem wall. And like I said, you're laying blueprints in the real game and then building with the weed stems when you come back. Or if you already have them in your hand, lay the blueprint, build. Lay the blueprint, build. Now these over here, you can kind of creep up and build these. That one right there, if you get to the edge of this grass plank, you can jump up and build it. Now, same thing, you're going to want to build 3 high. Which, like I said, once you lay the blueprint from here, you can just jump up and build it. Same thing back here. Gotta make sure they face the right way. And then, once again, get your bounce web out on the ground. And then you're going to have your blueprints for grass going across right through the center, just like you did before. And you're going to, you can actually land right there. It's tricky because if you miss, that's a long way down. But if you hit it just right, you can land up here after building all these walls. And you can either continue doing the walls by walking the edges. And, you can walk along these edges and build your walls with, having weed stems on your shoulder and go all the way around. And then from there, like I said, carefully moving around, lay grass blueprints across. And obviously in creative mode, it just auto builds. Now, the bounce web is on that side, so we want to leave this side open. We're going to alternate and close off the opposite side. Once again. And I have 2 different types of towers. I have the octagonal, which requires less weed stems because it's only 8 walls per level. And I have another rectangular side, which is 10 walls per level. So it costs a little bit more. But where I have it built at, I have more than enough resources. So you can continue this up as high as you want. I mean, this tower is already 6 levels tall. By not doing anything on these, on pretty much the bulk of the inside, it's a faster, cheaper way to build. It's, if you stream, it is much more visually pleasing to just be jumping versus the constant spinning of running up a tower that has stairs going around the edges. I'm not going to go any further up with this. I don't need to. You saw the tower I already have in the live game, which I will hop back to and then ride my zip lines around and show you the tower that I have at my main base, which is on the other side of the yard. So give me just a moment. I'll be back in the live game and we'll be riding the zip lines. All right, we are back in the live game. As you can see, I have my receiving end of the zip lines coming into the lower right. I have my base with my lights on either side. Bounce web that goes, if you hit your head, into the floor above. But if not, you up and over. This tower is 15 stories tall. The one I just did in creative is only 6, but you can keep going. And as you can see, I just keep going up and up. Minimal lights are needed because there's windows and because there's not much in there blocking the light. Now we're going to go a little bit of tour around the yard. Eventually going to end at purple, and I'll show you my rectangular rectangular zipline tower that I have built over there. And I'm building another one for the 5th base that I just started working on. So we're going to ride around a little bit. Get a good look at the yard. See if I have anything walking on the water. No? Okay, good. But you can easily slide right over the top of the yard. And you see I have another mega tower here. Receiving line is on an elevated platform for the reason of I need a clean line of sight over the top of the grass and over the roots, because the next tower we're going to slide to is my boathouse or pond update base that I thought was coming, but it'll be here soon. So it's the same octagonal shape, same deal, just bounce webs up. It's a much cleaner, much smoother ride up to the top than constantly running and turning on stairs. Now this is connected to the main base, which I could slide straight there, but I'm going to go for a ride this way. You see, if your feet touch anything like the edge of the tower, you'll hop off the zip line, which is why this zip line and the receiving end are so high, is because I did not want my feet touching any of this as I slid over. As you see, Burglebots down there. I have Wolf Spider that sleeps right there on my save. And I slide in. I have this on this particular side of the tower because I am beginning a base. You can see the skeleton of the tower right there going up. I will have the base up there on top of that rock. But for now, this is another octagonal tower, another 8-sider. And then it is getting late in the game in the day, so I should be able to finish this while there's still enough light before it gets too dark. You see we get up to the top. I have crossing the pond at a very steep, very fast zip line back to blue, which is where the bees should be based on where the pollen is. And I'll walk the edge of the tower just for the heck of it. Hop a zip line. And now I'm going to head towards my main base where all my main storage is. And as you see, there's a massive tower over there as well. It's 18 stories tall, I think, on top of a four-story tall building, which is on top of this big rock. I have spiders that are stuck in weird spots. A stink bug that is not up on top of the base, which is nice. So do a quick tour of this. As you can see, like I said, it's 10-sided, so we have 2 here, 2 on the other side being 4, and then 3 per long side, so 6 and 4, that's 10. This one I did the lights a little different. I just did sconces on the elevated section of each side, and then lights. These lights are just a tad different because I put a light over here since that's the receiving edge. I didn't want a light right here on the entrance on top of my roof. So we'll go up, and you see I have lights here, more lights here. This being the main base, it got a little bit more lighting. Plus, I have more supplies here. So it's just the same thing. You know, clean, just jumping. So if you look up, there's just this last section is clear to jump through. The center is still blocked. And then up we go. Now you see I have one going to green, one going to blue, one going between the lasers all the way to red, which is at 802 centimeters. So that's literally from here to here. So I have a zip line that can take me all the way across the yard now because I have a tower built up high enough. I also have this zip line going back, taking me towards where the wolf spiders are, so I can do my wolf spider farming every 4 days when they're up. Alright, I am now going to switch back over to creative mode, get back on this rock. I will not have the house, but I will set up a 2x3 section of foundation and then build up from there. So let me switch over and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back on the same rock. Obviously there's no buildings. This is creative mode. I haven't duplicated the buildings here. But I am still going to build the tower right here. So it was 2 wide and 3 long, just like so. And I'm going to try to duplicate my tower more or less the same way. Now this side was open because there was the receiving zip line right here. So I had a receiving zip line about here sitting on the roof. I had to be careful exactly where I put it so that I can still build the walls. And the same thing, you can, obviously you're going to have to lay the blueprints in the game. And the bottom 2 rows are very easy. You don't have to do anything other than lay the blueprints, walk up, and build. If it's, you know, this floor here, you just got to look up a little bit. Now, for these, you would lay the blueprints, and then you could jump to build them. You don't actually have to do anything special other than look up, lay the blueprint, and then, of course, look up and jump. All right. So, in my particular base, I had lights like here and here. And the first bottom bounce web was as far to that side wall as possible. You want it all the way over here. And then you have 2 options. You can jump and try to land. See, that's the trick about doing that. You might miss. Try to land on here. Or you can lay the blueprints across, because you're always going to have your blueprints across the middle section. There will always be floor blueprints right here. And you can jump up on the bounce web and just bounce up and down and spamming your build button until you get one side built. And once you have a side built, say like you've been jumping up and down, you got that one finally built, you can jump up, land on it, and then build from up here. And then I always like to add a little lighting. That's just me, though. I probably should do the walls first to make sure I don't put the light too far over. So, see, that's what happens when you do the light first. So, go ahead and throw all your walls on there. Now, you can, you know, change up the walls. You don't have to do with the weed stem windows. I do the weed stem windows because they're cheap. It's 2 weed stems. And in this particular area, there are weed stems everywhere around here. I mean, just below this rock, there's 2 dandelions, which is 12 weed stems. And then one of the husky weeds with multiple branches, which is 23 weed stems. That fella right there. Plus, there's a few more out by the flowers. You've got dandelions there. You've got dandelions over there. It's a good little run for those. Dandelions right there. So there are dandelions, you know, all around this area. So weed stems are not a problem here. Once again, you're going to go up 3 sections. It's always 3. So like I said, for these, lay the blueprint and you can jump to get them. Obviously, you're not going to be able to maybe jump and get these over here, but that issue can be taken care of a little bit differently. So you would at least complete these, 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. That's 6 sections, actually. Get your bounce web down. You know, you can put lights in the corner or whatever. Now, in jumping, if you have enough trust in your ability to hit the wall, you can land on this side of the wall that you've completed, walk the wall to these blueprints, and complete these blueprints. Or you can leave the blueprints alone for a second and get your grass floor built. You know, you can either land up here and just do the grass floor by putting down the blueprint and building. And then once you have the grass floor done, you know, you do this full elevation area. You can then walk up and still see the edges of the stem wall and build them from above. And then this can go up as high as you need it to go, just constantly repeating back and forth. So this side, your bounce web will be here. The next time, your bounce web will be directly above that one, but 6 stories up. So that can go up as high as you need it to go. For zipline towers, height is key. You want a good tall tower to a lower base for that nice steep decline, so you get a good speed instead of having a very slow slide across the yard. But if you like what you saw in this video, you have more questions or whatever, I do stream on Twitch every day. You can stop on my channel, say hi, ask me a bunch of questions. I'll answer whatever I can to the best of my ability. But until then, till the next video, y'all have a good one.